Paige and Ash, you guys have just implemented your first 3D build.
Yeah, very exciting time in our life for sure. So we're about 1 or 2 weeks out from being completed this first pilot project for Dune Building Technologies that is fully 3D printed with concrete. I know it's not going to be an answer to all, but it's just I can just see that this is the way the industry will evolve. To hear we've got the approval from the next generations is good as well.
It was the nicest letter we've ever received on site.
That's pretty cool. That's really cool.
Welcome back to another episode of Made to Build, powered by the HIA. Richard, how you doing?
Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, once again.
Yeah, we've got a great episode today. We've got Paige and Ash from Dune Building Technologies, and every now and then there's a technology that comes along that is a complete game changer. So some change the game within a year, some within a decade. I actually reckon that this technology is going to change it within the century. Okay, so this is a century change in technology that I reckon the industry really needs to pay attention to. Paige and Ash, you guys have just implemented your first 3D build. Welcome to Made to Build.
No worries. Thank you for having us. It's very exciting time in our life for sure. So we're about 1 or 2 weeks out from being completed this first pilot project for Dune Building Technologies that is fully 3D printed with concrete.
So we've all seen 3D printing on YouTube and videos and etc. But you guys have actually done it. You've now implemented one.
That's right. Yeah, 3D printing is not a new technology. We've all seen a desktop 3D printer, and we've all seen videos of a concrete 3D printer. Yep. This is a pilot project that in Victoria it's going to have an occupancy permit, so it's got a building permit attached to that, and it will be leased out to a tenant.
Let's just quickly rewind this back. What's the idea behind Dune Build? Like, where did the idea come from?
The idea come from it was about 12 years ago. I was surfing the web and saw a guy, an electrical engineer in America. He had built his own 3D printer and 3D printed his own daughter a castle in his backyard. And I just looked at that and looked how labour intensive the industry is at that time, and thought that's something that I want to aspire to. Yeah. So I was a carpenter by trade. The day I turned 15 was the day I got offered the apprenticeship. So 4 years when I then completed my apprenticeship, started a business and had employees from there. It then took a little bit before the technology could become in my hands. So about 2 years ago, I went over to the United States and visited Icon in Wolf Ranch, where they had 3D printed 100 homes all within the estate there. And that was September 2023.
Yep.
I then revisited it again in April 2024, and all 100 homes had been completed. And that's what really solidified the decision to...
So did you notice a gap in the Australian market where you thought, I can tap into that and change the way we build here?
Definitely. So being a residential builder, it really showed through COVID and the trade labour shortages that we all faced through that time. So what it's about is it's about getting out essentially the same trade labour that we have right now, training them up on a new type of technology that can produce a quicker home for a lower cost.
Speaking to the technology, how did you come about acquiring this?
So this technology is it's Cobod, so it's a Denmark technology. It was purchased out of Melbourne, and we acquired it and got the Cobod team to come over and train us up on that technology.
Look, I had a look on Facebook Marketplace. I couldn't find one. How did you find it? Like, is this accessible to your everyday builder, or what is it?
It is. So any builder can go and purchase it. Depends which manufacturer that you want to go with and what type of technology. There are different types of 3D concrete printers. There's a Gantry style, which is the same that we have. There's a
what does that mean, Gantry?
It's an overhead system that has overhead supports, and it's a really good system for producing large builds, printing the whole house in one, and it provides a really high quality for the print themselves. There are other printers available in the Australian market and overseas markets where they're a little bit different designs. The industry tends to start to lead towards a robotic style printer, but every different printer has different advantages, and obviously different advantages as different styles of cars would as well.
So what's the specific application of your Gantry printer?
We're suited to more of the larger scale homes or commercial construction. So this printer, we can go 12 metres wide, 22 metres long, and 3 metre tall walls. The print itself is 5 metres tall.
Yep.
We can extend those and create a larger home or a higher home, which need to acquire more parts to add on.
What's interesting about the printer itself is it actually has desktop 3D printed elements within the printer itself. So the nozzle head that you see is actually printed in carbon fibre using a desktop printer. So it's I guess it's technology creating itself, which is a really important and sort of cool aspect of it all.
And they're a part that does wear out pretty quick. Obviously, we're dealing with concrete, so all the guys have to do is just press play on the desktop 3D printer, and we've got a new nozzle that's back to the quality that it was when it was brand new. So that's a really interesting part of it.
There's a parallel there between a doll's house and a regular house, isn't there?
Could you run us through the process of what it actually looks like building a 3D home?
Yeah, absolutely. So standard conventional slab. So we're on a raft slab.
Yeah.
That slab has a rebate. We print down inside that rebate. We get about 4 layers high, and we stop the printer, and then we pour a DPC inside that cavity with brick weepers as well to help with any water ingress in that area.
When you say pour a DPC, what does that mean?
It's a non-shrink grout, so we couldn't figure out a way to put a standard DPC in between the layers. We really need to have strong interconnecting layer bondage, because that's where the most of the strength comes from. We insert brick ties as we go along, and then we essentially print all the walls up. We can only print a certain amount per day due to the time constraints in the day. And the labour, of course, and the EPA regulations. Where we were printing inside a local neighbourhood. We had 7 neighbours all around us and a vacant block next door. It was quite funny. At the end of each day, the neighbour, you could just see the phone go off above the fence and a few little happy snaps across to see what progress had been made. So as we print up, we obviously get to window height. So we have to install lintels, timber lintels that is just timber props. So they prop the layers then go above. And inside those walls, we have spaces for columns and ring beams. That's how we've designed up this wall system.
You mentioned brick ties. So is this a double wall system or a single?
Double wall system. So we've got an outer and an outer and an inner layer.
Yeah.
And that's what we're essentially doing is printed in a finished product. So we've got paint that goes on the outside, but you do see those layers and again paint that goes on the inside.
Is that to create like a thermal bridge between 2 walls, or what was the idea behind that?
It was just to get enough room inside that cavity to do the structural elements, and it creates a really large cavity to insulate. So we've put blow-in insulation inside that cavity, and we've achieved a 50% higher R value on our wall system than a standard brick veneer construction.
Wow.
So you've got your slab, then you've got your printed walls, and then on top you've basically got a trusses that sit on top of that.
Yeah, that's right.
Standard roofing system.
Yeah, a timber whaling plate gets bolted down, and then it's just a standard conventional truss from there.
So you can bolt into the concrete as you would into a slab.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Wow. And that appeases all the codes and regulations?
We had to get performance solutions. So that's one of the biggest hurdles that we face as a 3D printing company, is that there is no code to essentially draw from right now.
Yeah.
We are in talks with Australian standards we're in talks with Standards Australia to get 3D printing written into the code.
Yes.
But right now it was all performance-based solutions.
So you're really paving a new way within the industry.
Yeah.
Having to come up with performance solutions and different ideas and technologies as you go.
It is, yeah. We're not like we're still printing, like it's still concrete. So we're 61 MPa concrete. It's just a different methodology of how that is achieved. So there are a few certain things that we have to do at the start of each day. We have to apply a bonding agent at the last layer that helps then form and essentially glue that next layer down.
Yep.
Can you enlighten us to any codes and regulations that you've had to work around?
Yeah, there's a long list. Condensation and rising damp was one of them, of course. That's a big thing for us in the industry. Weatherproofing, so we've gone with a paint-on product that helps with that. The structural was the biggest one that took a lot of obviously back and forth with the engineer and finding a building surveyor who wanted to take this type of job on, and waterproofing inside the wet areas.
How did you go about like problem solving with this? Because it's never been done before.
It hasn't, yeah. A lot of late nights and 2 a.m. Epiphanies to go, oh, yeah, that's how I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
How we overcome it was just, using the industry connections that we have, getting them involved early in the process. And it was just brainstorming, really, and code searching.
And I just want to ask about how it's been accepted by the marketplace. So what's been the feedback from the marketplace in terms of inquiry and interest? And because it's a really exciting innovation. How's the market responded?
Look, to be honest, it's been a really, really great community response. I think launching this technology in our hometown has meant that a lot of the community has had a sense of ownership over this technology and I guess a new methodology.
And you guys are in Ballarat?
We're located in Ballarat, so a regional town of Victoria, an hour's drive from Melbourne. We sort of soft launched the project with 3D printed walls at the front of our office space to get the community talking and people engaged. And then that's when we started, the first pilot project. We've had lots of community engagement. We've had lots of people reach out within the industry, and we were open to having on-site meetings, and we sort of walked people from the public through the home to see the technology in person.
Yeah. And is that at this point? Have you got people that are saying, "Hey, yep, I want you to come and build my home," or is it sort of more at this stage? Is it more education?
It was both. So really, we had a learning process that was all behind closed doors. We wanted to make sure that we could actually get this thing off the ground. We had people who were interested in coming to look, and we then invited them all to see this pilot house. So, as terms of people signing up, there are people within the industry, and consumers as well. So, property developers, it's a big thing that their ears perk up, because we can reduce 50% of the time. So, what would normally take 6 months to build a standard home, we can do this in 12 weeks. Yep. And that's huge for
it's massive.
It is, especially for the industry.
So if you sort of do a sort of a potted version of the compare and contrast between the printing technology and the traditional ways of buildings, what are some of the advantages of doing it that way?
So we're really comparable to double skin block work. We in Victoria we predominantly build with timber frame, plaster, and brick veneer. Some of the great benefits of this technology is it's the strength. So we're printing in 61 MPa concrete, and we're printing in a finished product. So the trades that are running these machines can essentially do the external cladding, the framework, and the internal cladding all within the 7 days that we took to print this home. So that's where the huge time savers come into it.
Yeah.
How does it look when you get your rough-in trades to come in?
It's a collaborative approach, that one. So my brother, he runs an electrical business in Ballarat. He was very involved, obviously, because we have to insert the brick boxes as we go, conduit up. Because we've got that 150 cavity, we do have the room to run those services. Okay, and then we just conduit up through that concrete ring beam. That's the structural side of it. So they, very hands-on. It was a great team effort. And it's something that we'll just get better and better as we build more.
Do you have to do it as you're going with construction and building up those layers?
You're
having those trades come in and out daily, or?
It was probably every second and third day. Yeah. But we were inserting those brick boxes for the electricians. They would then come and run their conduits, make sure that everything's been installed where it needed to go and in the correct manner. The plumber was the one that would be then on site and installing all his pipe work as we go as well.
Okay. Can you typically chase one of these walls up with a wall chaser to run wires, or how does that work?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, because it's all hollow in between, excluding that insulation. You can. So if you wanted to move a power point, from one side of the wall to the other, you can just run it through. So it just means that you're just patching up concrete with a stencil that's same as our printed layer, then a plaster in with his patchwork and then painted.
Yep. Okay, and that complies with the strength that it needs to hold itself up.
Yeah, it does. So it doesn't undermine any of that strength if you're cutting out the holes.
And that's because it's such high strength concrete, I take it.
It is. Yeah. It can bridge that small gap. Yeah.
speaking back to limitations, are there suburban limitations to where you can't build in certain areas?
There is for sure limitations in that area, but then the upside to that is then you would then probably go to more of a robotic arm or a smaller type machine. This machine's suited to those large scale greenfield estates where you can get 10 townhouses in a row or a large commercial project.
So this technology is applicable to, say, a zero lot line block?
Yeah, yep, that's right.
It just depends on the machine you have.
Exactly, yeah.
You could also prefabricate as well. So similar to like a tilt panel construction, you can actually fabricate the 3D printed wall system outside of like in a shed condition and then move it to site as well. So if you did have any like extensions or sort of architectural features, you could do that in the shed and ship it on site.
I was curious to ask you, why do the 3D printing as opposed to traditional precast?
Just the excitement of the 3D printing. It's something that I feel is an answer to some problems that we have within the industry. I know it's not going to be an answer to all, but it's just I can just see that this is the way the industry will evolve in time to come.
When we're talking about going from one innovation to the next, what are some of the other advantages that you'll see with 3D printing in the future?
I think a big thing in the industry is obviously wear and tear on the tradesman's body. So it's a big thing that, obviously as a carpenter by trade, we are all aware of carrying those heavy frames into position and, standing trusses up. So this is just hopefully a solution that could help with the longevity of our trades as well.
Is it going to take away from a traditional tradesperson's job?
The crew that we had on site there, it was a team of 5.
Yeah.
One of them was a mechanical engineer, so he was the one running the printer. The other 4 were all carpenters by trade, so they were carpenters who either had progressed through the industry. There was a site supervisor that worked for my sister company, Oasis Building Group, as a supervisor, and he come across to be the print supervisor. And the rest were all either apprentice carpenters or qualified carpenters that wanted to come along for the journey. So it's about using the existing trade labour and training them up. Instead of a hammer, it's an iPad now.
So how do you go about training up tradespeople to do this?
It was an interesting journey. So a lot of it was self-taught as we go.
Yeah.
We're getting now SOPs in place where we can now train that next generation. I know that if you were to go around to all the schools and mention that you're going to be using an iPad or a computer instead of a wheelbarrow and a hammer, you might be able to get them to come along for the on-site there.
What does the future look like for 3D printing in Australia?
It's evolving very rapidly. It's something where we've got governments very interested in this new type of technology. Overseas, it's been done. It's solidified as a very strong and emerging technology. Australia is always, seems to be behind the 8 ball when it comes to something new. Which was why I had visited overseas and see what they were doing over there. So the future of 3D printing could help, with social housing, Indigenous housing, and hopefully try and get some of these first home buyers back into the market and get a roof over their head.
So in Australia at the moment, how many of these machines would there be?
There's a handful of machines. I don't know an exact number.
Yeah.
We're the only one that has a Cobod machine, and the Cobod are the world leaders technology in this technology.
Yep.
But yeah, there is just a few emerging companies in Australia right now that have taken that leap, and I believe only 1 or 2 builders actually having this technology.
Yeah. Okay. So it's very embryonic, but it also sounds like it's the builder needs to spend a lot of money to buy the equipment to actually get into that space. So can I ask? And you don't have to answer, but can you tell me what sort of money do you need to invest in a machine?
It's not a cheap investment, as we all could be known, but it's about future proofing the industry in my eyes, and we really just want to get this technology out to the people who's going to benefit from it the most.
Is it achievable for your everyday builder?
It depends. It depends how much they they believe in the technology. We believe the entry level cost will reduce once we go through the process of getting Australian standards written up for the industry, where you could take that to any engineer, any building surveyor, and say, well, this is how I'm going to build it. There is time. It's probably more the time for us that is the biggest factor. So working through that documentation, working with an engineer to get that across the line. So we partnered with Robert Berg Group. They're a great engineering firm here in Australia, and it was for them that we managed to get where we were. And we've done some testing with Swinburne. We got our walls tested up. So we packaged all that together and then handed that to a building surveyor and got it signed off.
Mm.
Is Australia ready for it? That's more my question, like in a general sense. Because what you guys are doing, it's special. No one's really done it yet on a residential scale. Like, can your everyday builder do it?
I believe Australia is ready for it. Through COVID, as we all know, it was extremely hard to get a bricklayer on site and to have this at our fingertips to potentially train those bricklayers up into a new form of construction. I think we've all gone through huge labour shortages. We can see that as paramount in the industry right now, and just the cost it takes to get materials on site and trade labour. So I really do feel that that now is the perfect time for this type of technology to emerge.
Mm. And I imagine that there'd be a fair bit of interest from the concrete companies.
There is. So we partnered with Heidelberg Materials, and they helped us to get this on site. We batch our own concrete with our batching plant, and they've helped with that. We've done truck trials. So we've had 3 different truck trials where we've had an ADS truck come to site, put it into our pump, and we've pumped using their concrete. And that was really, really positive. We had some great results. It came out superb, and then it's getting that applicable to the everyday printing capabilities would be great.
Yep. And the project that you've been working on, I believe that you're getting pretty close to finishing that. Is that first cab off the rank for a client?
This one was an investment from us, so it's you got to put your money where your mouth is, and we did it. So it was perfect because we didn't go too far out from the standard design, did we, Paige? It was pretty, boxy in that sort of sense.
The design is quite traditional. We didn't want to push the design boundaries too much on the first one. I guess we were going off 12 months of controlled environment printing in the shed and then out to the weather. So it's a 23 square home, 2 bedroom, 2 living. And we'll finish in 12-week time.
So we're 2 weeks out from finishing. We've got, the fencing getting put up at the minute, the landscaping getting done, driveways all poured. It was, poured 3 weeks after the frame had got, the trusses had gone on, which is, you never see a paving concrete on site that early. So the response has been really good. The community within Ballarat and surrounds, we had a lot of visitors throughout that time. It was to see it printing on site with all its eight legs set up was just phenomenal. We even had a brochure box out the front. Just explaining what we were doing. Yep. Of course, there was a lot of questions, and inside that brochure box, we had a little letter from a young neighbour thinking that it was a really neat and cool idea and gave us the thumbs up. So, to hear we've got the approval from the next generations is good as well.
It was the nicest letter we've ever received on site.
That's pretty cool. That's really cool. Along the journey, you would have no doubt had a whole lot of hurdles that popped up. What were some of the struggles that you had to deal with as you've progressed? And no doubt there'll be more to come, but what's the...
There was a lot. Like, we're not going to sugarcoat it. Quality issues was a huge thing that I strive to bring to this community.
Mixed design, nozzle types, wall configurations, I guess even just the talking between CAD and the printer itself. So working out what software to use and the slicing techniques, all of that. So lots of trials and tribulations.
Absolutely. Wall collapses. So if you don't get that first layer right, specifically with the mix, and it's not setting in a quick enough time, you get to layer 6 and it all collapses down. And it's pretty moral devastating when you print this out in the factory and then it collapses on you. But you just got to learn from it and adapt.
Yeah, absolutely. So I imagine you try to make as many of mistakes as you can in the factory.
That's right. Yeah. Trial by fire in the factory.
We have a little game that we play here on the show. It's called Under the Hammer, where yourself and Paige are going to pick up one of each of the hammers and you're going to flip it over and you're going to read the question out and you're going to answer it as best you can.
Okay, great. Paige, you want to go
alrighty,
first?
Let's do it. What one do I go? Perfect. If you could add one luxury...
No, you can't look at it.
Oh.
Ash, no, that's got to go down.
Don't interrupt. If you could add one luxury feature to every build, what would it be? Ooh. I would probably say heated tiles. Yeah, in the bathroom. So walking out, you're ducking to the loo middle of the night, walking out and feeling that heat on your... feeling the heat on your feet.
And it's funny, with heated tiles, until you've got them in your own house, you never realise how much you needed them.
Yes, yeah.
What's your ultimate Tools Down playlist song? Oh, that's really good. Tools Down playlist song would be Eye of the Tiger, I think. You finish for the day, you're ready to take on the afternoon.
Love it.
What's your biggest on-site pet peeve? Mine would be rubbish. Not having a clean building site. It's your biggest form of promotion. If it's not tidied, then you got some,
it's not good.
It's not good. That's right.
Yeah.
I take it that Dune Build, that'd be pretty clean.
It was. Yeah, we had feedback from our trades, and the feedback was it's one of the cleanest Oasis and Dune Build sites they've ever seen. So it's because it is leaning towards that more commercial construction. There was the need to just have everything spotless, really. Yeah.
I'll read the question. So what's your biggest on-site pet peeve? It's probably not a peeve, but mine would probably be going on-site, getting the phone out and seeing all the trades run away. So I'm trying to get content for the socials and then everyone just vanishes.
What's the craziest thing you found on a job site? What rating is this show again?
Right, give us two answers in that case. We'll let it one out.
One off camera and one on then. Craziest thing on the job site. Oh, I don't know if I really sort of got something that's off the top of the head that is PG rated anyway, but a burnt out car was one of them then. Yeah.
On your site?
Yeah, on the vacant block next door. It was, obviously someone had grabbed it and used it for something that they probably shouldn't have, and then, it was all burnt out the next day.
Back on one of those hammers, you mentioned cleanliness. Can we talk about the wastage and sustainability component of Dune Build?
Yeah, absolutely. So the great thing about this is that there's only a small amount of wastage that actually comes from the machine. It's involved with the startup and pack down procedure.
Yeah.
So we have to line our line pump with the slurry mix that helps obviously pump the concrete throughout the day. So that just goes into a block cast mould that essentially is filled up, and then once it's filled up, then we can then on-sell that block to either farmers or other people who are interested in a solid block of concrete. It essentially looks like a large piece of Lego. The sustainability side, it's something that we really want to dig our teeth into. So we've got a 70-30 70-30 fly ash mix. So it's a cement substitute where it's 70% cement and 30% fly ash.
The great thing about this technology is we're right at the cusp. So we mean that the mix design that we're using now may not be what we use in the future. So it's only going to get better, more sustainable. There's going to be more products that we can use.
And I noticed that in your socials that you've actually evolved the mix over and over. Like it just seems like it's a continuing journey.
It is. It's constantly changing. The weather plays a huge factor.
Yep.
If it's a hot and windy day, then you have to adjust your mix to suit. If it's a cold, windy day, you got to just adapt as we go.
How does the machine weather?
The machine,
Curiosity.
it's fine. Like it's designed to be outdoors in the elements. So it's all galvanised. It's fine. There is a maintenance aspect that is just general wear and tear, but the guys on site are all over that side of things.
Okay. So what's next for Dune?
We've got big grand plans. So we want to take this technology all over Australia. We're going to find our market in Victoria and then just adapt that to state by state. We will be building Oasis's next display home. So it's going to be a hybrid between conventional construction and obviously this new technology. So we're going to 3D print all the exterior walls. Going to render micro cement, a lot of the product, but expose the main key features so that a standard consumer who may not have heard of concrete 3D printing before can walk in and go, oh, well, what's that? Is it something that we can potentially buy or implement even just a single blade wall into their home, which we can, of course. So, yeah, it's big plans and big things coming from June and us.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. So watching the way that the 3D printer works, you've got the walls and you've got the curves and the way that they work there, and you've also got the ripples in the concrete. So how do you, like some people will embrace that, others won't want to see that. How do you manage that?
It's definitely, the texture's not for everyone. I personally love it, and I've been sort of adapted to it for quite some time now.
Yeah.
So it does have a texture finish, so it's lines, they're 50 mil height, and you can either paint it or you could cement over it as well. So whether it's a micro cement, you could plaster over it, you could have cladding fixed to it. So what I love about the technology and the capability in terms of design is whatever you can design in CAD, you can print. So essentially curved walls become its second nature, and it's no additional cost to the client. So bringing, again, that affordability to the consumer. I mentioned in the first display, this first build, we've gone quite traditional in design, but this display home that will be open, we've gone full design freedom in terms of curves and limitations, in terms of curves and flexibility there.
Yeah.
And as we know, like curves, they're not the easiest to construct on site. You have to, get the carpenters involved, the plasterers involved. So our first display home, we've got 5 curves in it, and it took you on a journey, but
The trades hated me.
you could just see the trail of destruction of snap skirt after snap skirt. So it was that time as well. I said to myself, how can we make this easier? And this technology. You design a curve, it prints the curve. There's minimal limitations when it comes to how far that radius can be back on itself. So we found the sweet spot that it's anything 50 mil radius and below it starts to cause us some quality issues.
Right.
But 50 mil radius above is just no issues at all. It produces a really consistent and high quality layer.
So on those small radius corners, you'd basically be able to just clad on the plaster, and then you've got a finished product. You've got the angle that goes over the top, so it's a finished product.
Yep, exactly right.
Okay.
We've got some bullnose products that you can go on the exterior, because obviously there is that curve that comes around.
Yep.
But yeah, plaster can definitely go over the inside if that's what the client or purchaser wishes.
Yeah, sure. It just seems like it's such a limitless technology, because it's a completely different way of building. So you'll be able to achieve so many different outcomes as long as the client knows what they want.
And that's the big thing.
So there's and that's a pretty big sort of caveat that you throw in there, and that you do need to have the client locked and loaded with their design and have it all signed off and closed out. Is that something that you will? No doubt you'll be evolving your processes as you go, but is that something that you've spent a bit of time focusing on? I imagine, Paige, you'd be living in that space a lot.
For sure, for sure. Design something is, second nature to us. So dealing with the clients from the very early stage of the project, and I guess just designing to suit that as well. So probably with this technology, just knowing where electrical outlets and plumbing outlets from the earlier stages more beneficial.
Yes.
But what I love as well that we probably haven't touched on is we're talking about residential construction, but this can also be transferred into commercial construction, as well as infrastructure elements, so retaining walls, garden beds. In the display, we've got our island bench is being printed. So the Limitless is probably the word for it. Pools, whatever you can print on site, as far as your imagination goes.
And it is about thinking outside the box. It's what we've found that when other builders approach us and they want to learn more about the technology, commercial builders want to learn more about the technology, or even developers, it's about giving them as much information as we can on what we can produce. And then what I have found is that they go away for about a week, and then they come back, and what was going to be one project has then turned into 10, and what about this area here or this area here? So it's everyone is the response has been great, and everyone's just so excited for something new and change within the industry.
Just one more about the design side of things.
Yeah.
When a designer transitions from the traditional designing a traditional home to 3D printed, what's that transition look like? Is it a tough journey? Is it an easy journey?
Look, it's not too bad, to be honest. We have so we automatically draw up the designs anyway for in the printer in the software that the printer collaborates with.
Okay, so it comes with, yep.
Essentially, so architects or designers, they can have a build that's drawn. The only thing that really changes is the arc or the radius of all of the curves. So as long as, I guess, you're sort of forethinking about architraves and making sure those curves are captured or the space is allowed for, then it's quite seamless.
Okay, love it. So Paige and Ash from Dune Building Technologies, it's been awesome talking to you because it's what you're doing is genuinely innovative. When I say it's a once in a century change for the industry, I believe it is. I think it's a massive opportunity for construction and for the consumer. So thank you for coming on board, and it's been awesome speaking to you. So can you just give us one final wrap up of your socials so people can reach out to you, builders or other people who are interested in talking to you? How can they get in touch?
Yeah, for sure. So we're available on all social media platforms. So it's at Dune Build, at Oasis Build. So we've got Oasis, who are the custom home residential builders, and then we've got Dune Build, which is the technology arm, so the 3D printing aspect. We go live occasionally on TikTok. We put the camera on the nozzle head, and one time we went live for 2 hours and we had people watch the entire time. So when the print is actually going, it's quite mesmerising. So it captures everyone's engagement, and there's a nice crackle sound to it. So it's quite good to watch.
That rocks, guys. Good on you. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
So you've been watching Made to Build from the HIA. Thanks for joining us. Have a good week.